Cassie, I get what's her name? Ventura? Cassie Ventura. Cassie has been in the news, in my opinion, way too much. All right. Way too much. I have seen more Cassie in my algorithm for accusing Diddy of being Diddy more than I've heard her albums. You know, after her testimony yesterday, and I talked about this with my friends on After Hours, after her testimony yesterday, I had to delete the Cassie albums. The Me and You, the Ryan Les collaboration, all of that. I said, man, this chick is for the streets. Absolutely for the streets. You said she got urine breath? Okay, well, let's go ahead and bring the people up to speed on what's going on with Cassie Ventura. And I'm gonna break it down from my lens of what I believe is really going on. I can give you all the unedited, unfiltered version of what I think is going on, and then we're gonna go from there. But let me give you all a summary of her testimony. She was a star witness of the testimony yesterday. Let's get to it.
Our witness on the stand. Let's go to Aaron Katursky. He was inside the courtroom for all of it, and he joins me now from Lower Manhattan. Aaron, this was the first time that Cassie Ventura and her ex, Sean Combs, have seen each other since 2018. What was that moment like in the courtroom?
When she walked into the room, Sean Combs appeared to look at her, but she, Eva, did not seem to look at him. And during her testimony, I'm not sure she really made eye contact with Sean Combs. She turned occasionally to her husband, Alex Fine, who was seated in the courtroom. She had other members of her family, her attorney there in support. But she recounted such graphic detail, too graphic for us to discuss here now, in such soft-spoken, matter-of-fact tones, describing degrading sexual activity that she said Sean Combs forced her into, starting when she was 22 years old, and as she called herself, naive, too naive, she said, to really understand what was going on or understand the power dynamics in the relationship. Because she said, if it turned him on, that's what they did. Her preferences weren't at all considered. And she said she was passed around and objectified by men, and with other men she didn't want to be having sex with on Sean Combs's whim, describing how he wanted to set up recording equipment to record these freak-offs. She said it made me feel insane. She said it was humiliating and disgusting.
All right. Lot to unpack here, guys. The first thing that I want to unpack is, can the guys in the chat listen to what I say before you respond? I don't want you to get a little bit overzealous and jump off the bridge. I only want to find the guys in the chat that I'm identifying with right now. So the guys in the chat that feel comfortable sitting in the courtroom being a supportive husband to a woman that has been passed around in the industry and feel like you're doing the right thing and you're a real man as a result of it, please speak up. Please speak up. For the guys in the chat that love to pick up, that likes to eat after everybody else, that likes to do leftovers, 2-week-old leftovers, would you please speak up right now? Because we spoke a lot about how it's difficult, or man, I couldn't imagine that the kids would be in there listening to this as far as Diddy's children. But what about the man that was like, you know what? I love you. I appreciate. Nah, he really on the I Choose You 2 tour. Think about that for a minute. So you sitting there listening to a woman that said that she got peed on, peed in her mouth, all of this stuff, all of these graphic details, and you be like, you know what? I love you through it. What would compel a person? Because that can't be from anything but God. Maybe it's from something else. I've never seen a love like this. I can't imagine being in love like that. I'm not built for such things. Could you imagine? You got her pregnant. She's sitting on a stand pregnant, and you're putting babies in this woman who everybody's put babies in already. And for whatever reason, she just never got pregnant. I'm sure they had some form of contraception, but this is crazy. This is the craziest case that I've heard of, seen in a long time. That's number one. Number two, do you guys think that we should trust her just because she got a soft voice and she's soft spoken? She told us that as a 22-year-old woman, which means that that is the age that most women graduate from college and get a job. They've been out the house for an extended period of time. She's already had multiple boyfriends, including Ryan Leslie, that at 22 years old, she was too naive at the power dynamics and what was expected in a relationship with a person like a Diddy. Nobody is saying that the relationship wasn't toxic. Nobody, and I mean nobody, I would never argue with you if you said that Diddy was demonic and the behavior and that his Diddy tactics or whatever it is, as far as his demonic ways and his overly sexual preferences and him being gay, you'll never get an argument with me in any capacity. The only thing that I could think of as I was reading through the testimony of several people that recounted what she said inside of the courtroom was he never should have paid her the money. He never should have paid her a dollar, a dime. You're going to have to get it out of me in a civil suit. You're going to have to get it out of the company to hold it. Listen, unless he should have never, ever paid her a dime. Not one dime, not a dollar. This just confirms to me of what I say. You fight it until you broke. You spend every dollar on lawyers and you fight it forever. You don't pay a dime. A dime. Not one. He paid her and she still testified. The company's paid her and she still testified. I personally believe that this is one of the most demonic and deceitful people that we've ever witnessed in our entire life. And I'm not even talking about Diddy. I'm talking about Cassie. Yeah, that's the uncomfortable part because I believe that Cassie is one of the most conniving, evil, deceitful, ugly people that we have ever witnessed in our entire life. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh my God, we shouldn't victim shame. No, she was Bonnie to his Clyde. She was the person, the ideal, she was the villain that got out just in time before the feds came knocking. And she was the villain. She's the bank robber that lied on the floor and acted like she was with the rest of the people. She benefited. She enjoyed it. I believe, this is my personal belief and opinion, I believe she benefited from it. She had multiple homes, properties. She enjoyed it. She enjoyed the courtside seats, the lavish lifestyle, the parties, the flights, the taking care of, and she never even really had to drop no music. Never dropped no music. And then at the end of it all, she said, you know what? I want out. She got out. She went broke. Her and her boy, because her boyfriend I ain't never heard of nothing that he providing. What is the trainer doing to provide? Went broke, came back and said, you know what? New York Survivors Act, let's get this money. Let's get this moolah, baby. She came back and was probably like, yo, I need 30 M's. And he like, man, she not about to keep on trying to finesse me and fleece me. She out of the lifestyle. She out. She out. Go ask your husband for it. And she said, nah, if you don't give it to me, I'm going to probably drop this lawsuit. And now she's considered a star witness only in America, only in the United States of America. Can you participate in what you're alleging somebody else to be doing as criminal activity, get rich off of it, and then testify as a result of it and benefit and be considered the victim? And be considered the victim. She's Helen from Troy. What was the girl that wound up getting all of the war and you know, everybody died. Achilles died, Hector, you know what I'm saying? Hector died. Everybody died from the woman that's went over in somebody else's bed. Whole wars was started over her. I honestly, in my heart, believe that she was a participant, that she was his right hand, and that she enjoyed it. 100%. 100%, I believe that. I'm not going for a tier. I believe that they were both toxic. They was the previous story, except for they had money and they had power. She was beating on him. He was beating on her. I believe that they were toxic together. Miss me with the seeing in the footage. Once the initial shock of seeing the footage come in, oh man, that dude's crazy. He's a monster. I guarantee you, I promise you, she was probably just as destructive, just as participatory, and just as toxic as him. They was a match made in heaven. That's why he was so heartbroken about her when she decided to go with the trainer. You're never going to convince me anything other than that. I'm not believing it.
Aaron, Cassie shared that she didn't have a whole lot of sexual experience before she met Diddy. She was only 19 when she met them. There's a nearly 2 decades age difference between these two. Talk more about that power dynamic and how their relationship changed over time.
Well, she was 19 and a young singer, and Combs signed her to a 10-album deal with Bad Boy Records, so a long-term deal. And she said, Eva, that she only made 1 album. Otherwise, the Freak-Offs took up so much of her time that it stifled her music career. But it controlled her financially, she said. So she felt like her livelihood, her career, her life really depended on Sean Combs and keeping him happy. Otherwise, she said she feared what might happen. Now, interestingly, she talked a lot about not wanting him to break up with her. Now, whether that was because she thought he might get violent or because she would lose some of the life that she had acquired, she didn't really say. But
she, listen to what we're saying right now. She didn't want him to break up with her. She didn't want him to break up with her. Hey, imagine being a man that's her baby daddy now, her husband, and her saying, and I really didn't want him to break up with me. That would just break my heart. Oh my God. She really loved his son. She really slept with her face in between his butt. And now I'm kissing her every. She really slept with her face in between his butt cheeks at night with baby oil on her nose. Ugh. Oh. Somebody really put out their Johnson and just squatted over her face and just peed in her mouth. And that was just the end of it. Ugh. And then she said that she didn't want him to break up with her. Man, free Diddy, bro. Free Diddy. Free Diddy, man. Diddy may be guilty of a lot of things, but he's not guilty, in my opinion. It's nothing that's been presented as evidence. People's testimony, how they feel about him, whether or not they're trying to finesse him and get some money out of it. No. I'm standing on what I stood on from the very beginning of this thing, and I'm going to say it again. Free Diddy. Am I the only content creator with a decent amount of following that's willing to say it out loud? Or is everybody going to be politically correct? Am I the only person that got the balls to say it out loud based off of the evidence that has been presented? Or is everybody just going to be silent about it and act like they don't know what's going on? I don't believe in my heart that Diddy is guilty of the thing that they are trying to charge him with. I don't believe it. I believe that everybody that participated was consensual and they participated on their own free will and that they truly wanted to be a part of the Diddlers parties. Everybody knew about it. Everybody still wanted to go. Nobody was complaining about it.
But we know that the defense is expected to argue that, sure, Sean Combs and Cassie had a toxic, violent relationship. The defense has called her a strong, adult woman who made a voluntary choice.
Aaron, you were in that courtroom. These details were a lot. What was the jury's reaction hearing her testimony?
It's really hard to read the jury. Most of them are pretty stone-faced. There was one woman who did seem to be following along. She would occasionally smirk at the mention of baby oil or lubricant, which was used so frequently that, as Ventura described it, the hotel rooms where these freak-offs occurred were left in complete disarray. There was candle wax and oil everywhere. But most of the jurors sat stone-faced, listening to what amounts to the humiliating recollection of a decade's worth of a woman's sex life.
Aaron, what can we expect to see in court tomorrow?
More of the same. Cassie Ventura ended her testimony today, taking jurors to a moment they've already seen video of, what happened in the Los Angeles hotel in March of 2016. The jury had already seen the video, but they saw it again with Cassie narrating it, saying, "That's me," pointing to herself on video and telling the jury this was the first and only time she tried to escape a freak-off before Sean Combs declared it over. She said she got hit by Combs, she had a black eye, and she wanted to leave. But when she tried to, as the jury saw in video, he dragged her back.
Did they ask her what happened leading up to that situation in the first place? And again, I'm never going to justify or advocate for somebody to put their hands on anybody. Y'all have heard me say it 1,000 times on this show and on other platforms. Keep your hands to yourself. But I also believe that she was complicit and participatory in being toxic, assaulting, putting her hands on him. And also, I believe that she was complicit and as an adult agreeing to and providing extra services to the whole freak off situation. More importantly, I haven't heard anything, not one thing whatsoever, that would lead me to believe that there's racketeering and trafficking. I don't believe it. I don't hear anything. I don't see anything. And two things can be true. Somebody could be ugly. Somebody could be demonic, but we all need the burden of proof to rest on the state and the feds and the court of law in order for somebody to be convicted as guilty. And I don't see anything that would lead me to believe that. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Am I off? Am I off? I'm just curious. Am I off? She probably wanted him to marry her. She probably wanted more out of him. She probably wanted him to commit. She probably got jealous at the fact that he was still with other women. Let me tell you what probably happened. I think she grew out of, because things had become so toxic and the freak offs had gotten so bad. I think that she was like, all right, you know what? I don't want to do it anymore, but I still want the lifestyle. I think you owe me to continue to fund my lifestyle while I run over with this dancer. And he said, nope, F you, get the F out. And I don't want to rock with you unless you're rocking with me 100%. He probably got jealous. He couldn't believe it. And so he told her, no, I'm not giving you a payout. If you're going to leave, then leave and take everything that came with you, because I never married you. I think she grew out of it and was like, you know what? I don't want to do it anymore. And so I'm going to rock out. And he was like, okay, well, if you leave, take everything you came with.